Okay, so my bad. Um, yeah, so it's been a while since I last made these kinds of videos. It's been like since October. October was the last time I made one of these videos, and if you are one of the very, 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 I can go on with repeating this word for like hours to really, if I were to really emphasize this how small my audience is. But I don't mind. It's just a I don't put a lot of effort in my videos. It's just something I do on occasion for enjoyment, I suppose, or just to vent out whatever frustrations or grievances I have. Anyways, part of it was just because like I was depressed. Um, that's why I haven't been uploading as much. Two is I've been busy with music primarily. I wrote like a bunch of songs. I've had like a really ambitious first album planned, which I wrote fully, and I had like a perfect idea for how it should sound. But I kind of realized that I didn't know anything about production, so I don't know how to use equalizers or any of like the technology needed to really make those ideas that I have pop. So I thought, okay, maybe I got to do something that's a little bit easier, like, or at least a little bit more minimalistic, so I can learn the basics first while still getting it, proper work done. And so I decided to write a whole new batch of songs, which I'm almost done, with primarily just acoustic guitar, but like maybe like a couple instruments during certain sections, like here and there, just to give it some sort of progression and fill some sort of space in the mix. And also, but the caveat is that, well, not the caveat, but the sort of like exception to that rule is that one part for each song goes completely off the rails and does this like genre fusion kind of thing. One song is gonna have a psychedelic section, the other's gonna have like an avant-garde Scott Walker kind of section, and the other is gonna have like a early Black Midi noise rock thrash metal section or something like that. Or some is just gonna be standard Nick Drake classical folk or something like that. And that's sort of like gives it each song its own little bit of identity and creates a sort of sense of climax. That's my vision for it. But anyways, back to the point. I've been busy with music. And also I just haven't had a lot of important things to talk about. Like of course I've undergone a fair amount, mental health wise, but I don't want to like completely depress you guys. Like I was in a really bad spot not too long ago. Um, Not the worst I've ever been. That is a high bar to cross, but it was pretty bad. I won't get into it, but like, well, I'll get into it a little bit throughout this video, but anyway, that's what I'll say about that. But just that's well, those are the reasons why I haven't really been uploading. Just lack of motivation, music, and um the tangent partially related to the first one, being just that nothing really interesting happened and that I was depressed. Anyways, so what I'm making this video is basically dedicated towards me sort of ranting and raving about what I plan to do with my life in the future, because like I will admit I've kind of slept walked my way through slept walked my way through life, and that's kind of sad. I just kind of drifted on and on without really questioning why I'm doing things or what the goal is there. I remember when I was younger, I used to have those aspirations, but as I got older, I just started to realize that someone like me just can't really do anything particularly special. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna be an engineer. Oh, I'm gonna be a lawyer. I'm gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna be an astronaut. Like I do. That's just a universal thing that all kids go through until they get older and they mature a little bit and they develop more self awareness and realize that what they can actually do is not much. At least not those. You can't really fulfill those kind of positions. You have to sort of do something a little bit more mundane. And there's this sort of weird thing with my ego where I have like not like I don't think very highly of myself sincerely, but there are moments in my life where I start to have like this inflated sense of self-importance, but it's very fragile. It's very vulnerable. It's almost like it's a sort of coping mechanism that prevents me from accepting that I'm a loser or I'm someone who is not as important, is valuable as I'm trying to convince myself that I am. It's almost like I get lost in this fantasy of who I want to be or who I think I am, just so that I don't have to accept who I truly am. Anyways, about that, I just kind of have this ego problem, and that what that does is it doesn't make me want to settle for a mundane position. Um, it makes you think, well, all I really want to do is music. That's like not feasible. So I have to like plan for other things. I have that music is gonna have to be a side thing because I think I'm fairly talented, but I'm not like one, far from the best. Two, like even if you are extremely good, it's still one in a million. You just have to accept that. I try to ignore it as much as I can. I keep fantasizing about all the ways that I could succeed and have my dreams come true, and I just fantasize about all the success I'll achieve. And partially as a way of motivating me to keep doing it, but I know deep down that's just not going to happen. And but thankfully I do enjoy it as well. I very much do enjoy it. I am deeply passionate about music and I'll keep doing it. So like I keep thinking like that's what I my calling. That's what I'm born to do. But and I can't settle for anything less, but I kind of have to. And so like while I was doing this music thing, I was at university, the U of A, which is a to show you how far I've fallen off. It's like a top 5 school in my country of Canada, but like man, I just lost any and all motivation to continue on. Not any and all. I try a little bit, but I kind of half-assed it. That's what I did for much of my career. For the first little bit, I tried and I did well. But then at some point, I was just like, you know, fuck this shit. This is a waste of my time. Like I have this degree isn't gonna get me anywhere. It's a psych degree. In case you're wondering, it's not gonna get me anywhere. It's not gonna get me a job. I'm not really interested in most of the subject matter I'm being taught. The psych stuff is okay. I have some interest in psychology, but like everything else, and English too. I like English a little bit, as long as I'm not having to read those super pretentious essays. But I like fiction. I like analyzing fiction and poetry. But anyways, most of the things I learned, I fucking hate, and I get overwhelmed by like the coursework that's required of me. And it doesn't help that I'm not a very efficient worker. I have like a slow process, like an auditory processing disorder, a general like slow processing speed that kind of makes work. I mean, have to work a little bit harder to not only understand concepts, but to also get work completed. Because like the speed at which you can complete your work is not only due to your like drive and your focus and your concentration and your actual ability, but it's also like how fast you can think. After all, if it takes you a long time to think of stuff, no shit, it's gonna take you forever, even if you are fully concentrated. And unfortunately, I have very poor concentration. Very poor concentration. I have ADHD, and I mean actual ADHD, not like that. I shouldn't say that. No, I can't gatekeep. Um, it's just hard for me to believe that ADHD. I'll just say my ADHD is more severe than other people's. Not the most severe. Like I know people who are just like basically helpless because of how severe their ADHD is, even with medication. But like even as a medicated person myself, taking near the max dose, I'm still very scatterbrained and spacey. But whatever. I guess I just have to sort of adapt. And so, anyways, I'd be doing school, and then I would like, I'm not interested in it, and I'd kind of struggle somewhat, not a lot, because my material's not that hard, but like, due to whatever like cognitive limitations I have, I'm just not going to like get it done fast. I'm not going to like perform the absolute best in the world. Like I don't perform badly. Well, except I kind of fucked up my last history exam, to be honest. I didn't I kind of half-assed studying for that thing and I gave myself like 2 days. Um, so yeah, maybe I should have that should have been a lesson to maybe work harder. But anyways, I there's a lot of reasons why, but the one thing that really depressed me about university is how isolating it is. Like, and that might not make sense to a lot of you because, like, college is sort of a place where it's perceived as a place where you can like go out and meet people and socialize and where you find all your friends, and that's probably the case for most people. But man, hmm, like my problem is that like outside of class, I'm not really encouraged or forced to socialize with people, and like I'm naturally inherently uncomfortable with social situations. I might have like mild social anxiety, and I just like don't want to socialize with people. I try to avoid it as much as I can, and I'm usually fine with that, but I have this deep self-loathing issue that only gets reinforced. Like those thoughts in my head just get about how horrible I am get reinforced by the fact that I have no one in my life, and that's when I feel I'm at my absolute loneliest. If that's yeah, that's my sort of experience with it. And I am joining some clubs now. I'm part of the triathlon club. I only run attend the running sessions. Um, and I'm a part of the board games club, and I socialize a bit, and it's good. But I only meet like once a week, and it's not really enough. And I'm hesitate to make friends because I fear as if people are going to realize like by becoming close to me that I'm a deeply flawed, horrible, selfish, narcissistic, like vain and frankly idiotic person. I don't maybe all of them are true, maybe none of them true, maybe some of them are true, but that's kind of how I perceive myself a lot of the time, and I don't want people to realize who I think I am. Not who I am, but who I think I am. And that kind of makes me reluctant to actually pursue things further. So we're just more so like friendly acquaintances with the people I week meet on a weekly basis to play board games with or run with. Um and so like I generally feel fairly lonely. Um and I know a lot of it's my fault as I sort of indirectly admitted. Um but like I don't know how to beat it. Like you many people say like oh make friends if you want to like sort of nullify your depressive thoughts, but I feel like depression really gets in the way of you making friends. It makes you hate yourself, and because you hate yourself you want to withdraw, socially speaking, and that only worsens the thoughts in your head and reinforces like your depression and makes it worse. So I don't know how to beat it, but anyways, like the loneliness is a big part about why I do not like college, and also the fact that I'm, as I said before, I lost the motivation to continue on with college, and I'm not going to really accomplish anything with my degree. So I'm planning on like dropping out of university. Now it's not like I'm going to like drop out of university entirely. I'm going to go to college instead and do a 2 year diploma for. Well, I don't know if I got accepted yet, but basically yeah, it's just a diploma for my first choice is being a therapist's assistant for an occupational or physiotherapist, or I can be in social work. Those are my two, like, those are the two programs I most want to get into. Um, Mainly because I have an interest in those kind of subjects, and I want to contribute, give back to the community in some way through something I'm somewhat interested in, even though I'm not like as directly participating in it as say someone who like actually is a therapist. But I'm helping and it's meaningful in some way. It facilitates the work that the therapist gets done. And so yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing for some time. which is like been boosting my mood a little bit. But that's something I always feel whenever I start something new. I have this like uncharacteristic sense of optimism, but that optimism is just sort of like a mean old trick because whenever I do feel optimistic, like when I get faced, it like sort of like builds up this like I fantasize about all the ways this can go very well. But then like when I actually and how this would be so perfect for me, but it like clashes hard with the reality that it's not as romantic as my brain is making it out to be. And yeah, that's I think this is a pretty common experience. Everyone experiences this to some extent. It's universal, but oh, I feel it especially hard because I'm clinging on to any like fucking hope that I'll finally find my lot in life and that I'll find security and that I'll find purpose, but like I just don't feel like any there's any meaning to anything deep down. I don't want to be nihilistic because I know it's a very harmful mindset, but it's so hard for me to feel as if there is. It's not because I want to, it's just because I feel like it's the only thing that makes sense. I don't know if it actually does make sense. I don't know enough about philosophy or theology to make that call, but like I don't know, this is my natural inclination, probably due to like my depression. And yeah, I also kind of fear as if like I kind of hypothesize that maybe like this nihilism is actually no, I'm not gonna get into it. That sounds ridiculous. I just thought about it a little bit more, and that sounds really fucking stupid. So I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna try to elaborate on that any further. I'm just gonna stop it there. So yeah, thanks for hearing me out. Um, thank you. Bye.